Hey, Tony Guys here, popping in. I try to be very fluid and very on topic based on things I'm going through or seeing or experiencing or bumped into. And today I want to remind you because a lot of us here are parents, and a lot of us will become parents if you're not a parent. And I want to remind you to advocate for your child. And what I mean by that is you have to make sure you go up to that school and you meet the principal and you meet the assistant principal and you meet the dean of students and you meet the guidance counselor and you meet your school's teacher, your child's teacher, and if your child changed classes, you meet every one of those teachers. And you shake their hand and you look them in the eye, or you might gotta do a fist bump right now. But you look them in the eye and you let, I'm such and such mother or such and such father. And I wanna let you know that I am raising my child to be great. I expect excellence from my child. I'm gonna do everything I can. But you are with my child 8 hours a day. And so I'm expecting for you to treat my child just like it's your child. And if you cannot do that, let me know. And anything my child does, says, anything, let me know. My phone number, my email, I'm serious about mine. And in your words now, say it in your words. Everybody ain't gonna say it like me now. But I was going back and forth today because stuff going on at my son's school, not even involving my son, just stuff involving other kids. And it's bullying and it's little racist jokes and a lot of promiscuity. And these kids today in middle school, they are intercoursing, they vaping. You need to make sure that if your child have a phone, you have that phone. That phone hooked up to your phone on your account. And that's why you need an Apple phone so you can have the iCloud and you can have that so them texts coming through, and you have to put the fear of God in your child. You got to let your child know that all your texts, I see all your texts. Even if you don't see them, they need to know and believe you see them. At night, their phone need to come in your room. If they got a video game, cell phone, tablet, you got to have hours that thing cut off. They don't get to have that all the time. At night, phone, tablet, everything come into your room or your side of the bed if y'all share a room. And you have to, every single day, you got to get their school planner. Get their school planner and see what homework they have. Check their homework, see what need to be signed. And as a parent, you should be spending an hour to 2 hours a day doing homework and studying with your child. And what you have to do as a parent, if you don't know how to do the work, then get on YouTube and find somebody who does those math problems. Find Google, use Google, and you as a parent learn it. And then if you say, well, Tony, I'm busy, I'm working. Guess what? If you're working, then you should be able to sacrifice $15 for an hour of tutoring. Google tutoring center near me. Google student tutoring near me, and find the tutors. Is some gonna be independent and they can tutor through Zoom, through Skype, and it may be some tutoring centers to where when your child could get picked up by the other parent or grandma, granddaddy, uncle, auntie. If you work till 5, your child get out of school at 3, then sign your child up. Instead of riding the bus home to go home and be watching BET Uncut or on TikTok and all of that, instead of put your child in the Boys and Girls Club. Put your child in a daycare. Get on the state program to where the daycare is paid for if you can't afford it. So your child have somewhere to go if you work in the 5 o'clock. And your child get out at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And that way your child has somewhere to go where it's adults there chaperoning. If you sending your child to an after school program, listen, put your child in Taekwondo. They got after school programs. If you can't do a daycare, there's other sports programs like I9 Sports and different. Just Google after school program near me, and make sure your child has somewhere to go after school if you still working, to where they are under adult supervision. And if it's a friend or a family member, make sure that you vet that friend or family member like you are the FBI, CIA, because you need to make sure this person that has your child has stellar character. And see, a lot of this right here, it sound like it, you would think it'd be common sense, but as parents, it get hard because we worried about our life. We worried about our stress. We worried about paying the bills. We worried about our relationship. We worried about the pain in our body. Losing your mother, losing your father, losing your brother, your sister. It's so much stress on parents that it's very, very easy for kids to get left behind. It's very, very easy for YouTube and an iPad and the phone to raise our children. And I'm telling you, they are the future. They are your legacy. They are your lineage. You're leaving them to the world. And they will create their own legacy, which will also go through their kids. Legacy means a gift you leave the world. Your child is a gift, and you leaving your child to the world when you go on to glory. And so you want to make sure that your child gonna carry out your name and the lessons that you taught with excellence. But if all you focused on was putting food on the table and clothes on their back, and you didn't focus on their mental and emotional and spiritual and physical well-being, then everything you did was for nothing. Because we are told all the time, I fed you and I clothed you. And it's like, yeah, that's all you did. So I about destroyed myself out here in the streets because you ain't talk to me. And that's what kids can't say to parents. But as a parent, you look at it, don't be comfortable with the status quo. Do not be comfortable with the status quo. Don't I'm doing better than my mama and daddy. No, do the job. Don't worry about just being better. Don't worry about being just as good as. Do the job that needs to be done. And I'm going to tell you, an idle mind is a devil playground, the devil workshop. So get your children active, and do not let any excuses get in the way. If you don't have the money, go up there to that center, to that Boys and Girls Club, to that coding. They got the little coding places now, Code Ninjas. That is for, kids, I think 6 and up or 3 and up. They got the daycares. You could go to the nicest one, the most established one, and get financial aid. Let them people know your story. Let them know why you're doing what you're doing. Let them know one of your mentors encourage you to get your child active and get your child into something. If your child ain't no athlete, then put them in the Code Ninjas, in the coding club. That they got the franchises now. If they're not in the computers, then put them into the active things. Taekwondo, karate, basketball, tennis. Like, there are tennis clubs, there are volleyball clubs, there are gymnastics, tumbling clubs, to where they have a van and they will come to your school and pick your child up, and they hit the other kids that go to there, and they'll hit the other schools and they'll take them to that gymnastics gym, and your son and daughter in there doing flips and tumbles for 4 hours until you get off work and you able to swing by and pick them up. And everywhere in the world has financial aid. And if the actual establishment, the actual business don't have financial aid, then it's a foundation that has some financial aid. But you ain't got to give a sob story. You ain't got to be crying. You ain't got to be doing none of that. I remember when me and my wife got started, my son's tuition was $175 a month. And we started him in preschool 3. But at the private school, they start as young as 6 months. And it's a full day, 8 a.m. to like 3 p.m. And so, yes, the parents typically have to be getting off at 3, or somebody got to pick them up. But after that regular school day, they have a thing called extended day. that goes to 6 p.m. So the tuition at that time probably was $800 a month, and we got in for $170 a month because my wife talked to the financial aid lady and said, I really need my son here. He was out of school and it was just not healthy. It was kids from areas where there was just a lot of parents who had their kids and really don't raise their kids. So their kids are cursing, they're doing gun signals, they're fighting. The kids is like a reality show because the parents is too caught up on their job or focused on the club or doing scamming. We live in like a scam capital. So scamming and the parents not raising these kids. I need my son in a better environment. And that happened. We went out to eat. My son was at this little daycare. And for one, at the daycare, a lot of these daycare, you finna get foot, hand, and mouth thing that the kids get. That's for one. Two, you probably gonna get lice or some type of head sores or something just because of all the germs. And then what happens is at a lot of these little daycares, you know how it is when you tight financially, you can't afford that stuff. So you just go to where you can afford. And you may be a good person with a good heart, but somebody who in your same financial situation, they may be there because that's all they're ever going to be at and they don't want better. They're not watching a video like this. And so they not raising their child. And you actively trying to build yourself and you trying to get to the next level in life. And you here now, but you trying to get here. And so you raising your child rich-minded, meaning that you pouring time and energy. And y'all on ABC Mouse. If you got a young 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, get on ABC Mouse. It's $8 a month. Get on ABC Mouse. Get on Hooked on Phonics. Get on these things and take that time. I watched my wife at first with Tatum. She was worried about his learning, but she got on ABC Mouse and she had him do that ABC Mouse an hour a day. And then guess what? Our son was tested as a genius, our oldest son. Tatum, at his age, read and write and comprehend better than his older brother. And so, I told my wife, I said, that's because he got a little bit more of my blood. And I'm actually smarter than you. I just ain't had no good school. That's why I was joking with my wife. But Tatum now, his grades coming in, he in the second grade, 100 out of 100, 100 out of 100, 100 out of 100. Something he just got an 85 out of 100. But 100 out of 100, 100 out of 100. He know his work. He going to the second grade, he's doing third and fourth grade math in his workbook. It come from ABC Mouse. Doing ABC Mouse every day. Then my wife would take and do flashcards with him. And a lot of times she'll be running on fumes. She'll be super tired just, because she kind of anemic too. And something always going on with the body. You know how it is. As you aging a little bit and just stuff be start to crick and crack and go wrong. And so her and I, we super duper in love. So this is our fault, is like throughout the day I'm working. I'm working on something. A book, a course, or videos on the phone, because just people who I know personally, not even clients, they see what I do in real life. Out here in the world, and so they like, man, I know you personally. Let me get on the phone with you, get some wisdom from you. Let me talk to you about my problems. And I'm like, listen, I got to do this professionally too. Now you got me on here pro bono, so I live on a phone call, a text message, and so throughout the day, me and my wife, we talk a few times, maybe 30 minutes. And so she doing her stuff, and then as soon, like right now, she picking up the boys from school. Then they gonna talk that 40 minutes on the way home. When they get home, now it's homework, straight to homework. Then right after homework, it's time to go to practice. And so I do the practice run. So when I do the practice run, I'm at practice. When they at practice, I'm working. So I do some more work. I'm shooting another video, or I'm working on something on my computer. And so me and my wife ain't talking that much then. Come home, it's dinner. Or eat on the way home. Have dinner. Now my oldest son don't get out of practice till 9 p.m. So you get home 9:30, 9:40. He still have more homework. He do homework 40 minutes coming home, 40 minutes to practice, 40 minutes back from practice, get back home and still have an hour or 2 hours worth of homework, because that's the level of work his school give him. And so when he's doing that homework, now my wife, she getting Tayden in the bed. And so Tayden get to bed, and now she trying to make lunch for tomorrow, iron clothes, clean up the kitchen. She doing her stuff. And then I'm either on a Zoom, on a call, tighten up a course. We're getting ready to do the Labor Day sale. So when you see this Friday, I'm going to change the prices today. But all the courses about to be slashed. The bundles, look at the bundles first. And then the course is about to be slashed in half. Except for the life coach certification. Can't slash that in half. That don't go to, just because people is in that. And then if I slash that in half, everybody who just signed up within 30 days, hey, hold on, I need it for that price. So that one I have to keep the integrity of it, and it stays at that price, until like a major day like Black Friday or Christmas. But check tomorrow on Friday. All the courses will be slashed. The prices will be slashed. No coupon code needed. The price you see, it will be is the price that it is on Friday. It'll probably change. I'm gonna change it after I get done with this video. And so it'll probably be changed by 6 p.m. tonight, which is Thursday on September 3rd or 2nd. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, so I'm doing that. And so then by the time my sons get in bed, it may be 10 o'clock for my oldest boy if it's on a practice night, sometimes 11 or 12. Sometimes he doing homework till midnight, 1 o'clock, and he's smart, but they give him that much homework at his school. And it just, every teacher think they the only person in the world, and so they give all this homework, like the child only got to do their homework, but the child got 8 classes. And so they doing all this work, and then if there you have a life outside of school, then everything is thrown off. And so now he doing that. So now come 10 o'clock, me and my wife really not starting to talk. But she may still be doing stuff around the house. And so I may be doing a Q&A while she doing her stuff around the house. And so by the time we sit down, it might be 11 o'clock. So we stay up to 12, 1 o'clock in the morning just talking. So we up just talking like we newlyweds, like we, high school sweethearts. But that's just the level of our relationship. And so the next day, she get up at 5. If we went to bed at 1, she slept 4 hours. That's terrible. So she running on fumes. The fumes of love, though. Because I'm up and I'm running on fumes. So now we gaining. We putting on happy weight. We putting on marriage weight because we ain't sleeping good. So that got us snacking. And then we trying to find time to work out. And then in the middle of the day, sometimes we still and get us a little time together. Today we got us a little time together in the middle of the day while the kids at school. And so it's like when you have kids, and especially if you're a single parent, your life even harder as a single parent because you don't have any help. You don't have any help. So guess what? If you're a single parent, that means you have to be even more diligent. That means you got to pray for even more strength. That means you got to be even more locked in and focused. But guess what? You're going to be proud of it, and you can do it. A lady wrote me the other day bragging about doing what my wife do as a single mama. And I'm like, congratulations. My wife practically single, but what I do is take the kids to soccer practice. So she do all of that with them. She do all of that. So, and that's just how it is because you do stuff differently. If I step in there, I'm going to do stuff totally different. So I let her do that. And I step in and I talk to my sons every day. I give them my little time and energy. And I step in when I need to reinforce something, when I need to back my wife up on a rule, on some discipline. I step in like that. But I let her handle they whole schedule in life just so that they have a singular track and they not being thrown off and confused. Well, mama said do it this way, daddy said do it this way. I let her do her thing there, and I trust that because I see how they turning out. I see how they developing, and then if I need to step in and say something, give my 2 cents, then I'm gonna do that. You see what I'm saying? So understand, single mothers, don't get down in your spirit because a lot of daddies, we ain't doing nothing. Even so, don't look and sit there and beat yourself up and say, I'm so jealous of the woman who got a man. Because a lot of time we ain't doing nothing but paying a bill. And some husbands ain't doing that because they still got their wife going 50-50 on the bills. And some of them got their wife going 50-50 on the bills and their wife still work 40 hours a week. And so essentially she got a man for practically nothing. Because all he want to do is put some dang-a-lang on her. So he want to work and he want to put some dang-a-lang on her. And so that be the case for a lot of women who in a relationship with a man. It ain't like you just got the world of help now. We ain't the most helpful. I wish I did more. And I'm always be transparent with y'all on this, so you ain't looking at something like it's some fairy tale. Like I wish I did more, but my wife practically is a single mother with these kids, especially when I had to travel. When I was traveling to the NBA team every week, I was gone 4 or 5 days a week. So my wife literally was a single mother then, and I'm basically just paying bills from my income. So that's like child support. But I went out of town last weekend. I'm like, man, I got to live, man. Hey, I got to get my mental health. Like all these people problems I'm dealing with. I'm like, son, I got to go to a game. He said, well, you're not really with us that much anyways. I said, what? I had this swing on him. But he was telling the truth. His mama drive him to school. His mama picked him up. His mama do the homework. You see what I mean? Because that's her strength. That's where she at. I let her operate in that. Now, when it need that guy talk, that man to man, birds and the bees, when it need that right there, that discipline, that I got to put that down on them, okay, now I'm in there. Going to practice, okay, now I'm in there. But when I'm not here, my wife doing drop off, pick up, homework, dinner, practice, back from practice, homework, bathing, make sure Tatum bathe good, brushing his teeth right, make sure he brushing his teeth right. When he get out that bathtub, she lotion his whole body from head to toe. 2 types of lotion that he put on. Put on his pajamas. He got to turn on his diffuser. He got to read a book. He turn on his night lights. They say a prayer or with a devotional or read a book, and then he go to bed. Same with my son. Got to make sure he shower, make sure that he done ate. He got a 3-step face routine that he got to do every night, every morning. He do his routine, got to brush his teeth. Got a routine that my wife, she oversees because these boys, like we quit as males, we quit to skip us a shower now. We quit to skip us a shower. We quit to skip brushing the teeth. We quit to not wash our face with the actual soap and then use the hyaluronic acid and then use the moisturizer. Like as men, we really don't do all that. But my wife instilled that. You see what I'm saying? So she the CEO of home. I'm CEO of companies, but she the CEO of home. So I say that to say because I know it always be a lot of single mothers in the comments feeling bad for themselves and beating yourself up. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to realize that you're more than a conqueror. You got to realize that you're more than enough. And you got to realize that if God allowed you to be in this situation as a single mother or a single father, then he done equip you with what you need to take care of your child. Because it's single parent households that have raised kids better than 2-parent households. Hear me again. It's single parent households that have raised kids better than 2-parent households. So listen, this is what I need you to realize and understand. So get active, get involved, and guess what? You're gonna be drained. Learn how to drink you some coffee. You're going to be tired. Learn how to listen to you some music with a beat to it. You don't need no nasty lyrics now. But with a nice little beat to it, or listen to these here videos, because you know I'm going to get your blood boiling because you're ready to argue. See, Tony, I am a single mother, and this is not fair. You want me to do everything your wife is doing? This not, you know I'm going to get your blood boiling because I ain't going to make no excuses for you. I ain't going to make no excuses for you. Listen, whatever hand you've been dealt in life, you got to play that hand. You got to play that hand and come out on top. Don't fold. Don't fold your hand. You finna win. You finna win, and that's what you got to realize. And so understand, it ain't no excuses that could be made. It just changes got to be made. So you get in there, you talk to that teacher. What's happening at my son's school right now? Some of the kids, some of the Hispanic and white kids, making black jokes on some of the black kids. So it ain't on my son. It's on another kid that I know his daddy. And so I told my son, what's up with that? What's going on? I said, what you did? He said, well, I went to two of the boys that I know was making the jokes. And he said, I told them, hey, y'all guys need to chill out with the black jokes, with the racist jokes, because it's not funny. I said, what? You said that, son? He said, yeah, I told him that. And I said, well, okay. So, and he said, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go talk to such and such, to the principal. He said, I'm going to go talk to the principal. He said, because when because when it comes to this racial injustice, you can't tiptoe around this. You got to nip it in the bud. He's like, you got to get right to this because this is serious. They calling it jokes. This is racial injustice. And I'm going to talk to the principal. And when I talk to him for 10 minutes and he hears my passion in my voice, he's going to get right on it. I said, okay. He said, so I'm going to talk to mom. I want to get to school 10 minutes early tomorrow so I could go talk to the principal. Sure enough, they got to school 10 minutes earlier than they normally do, which they normally 15 minutes early. So this time they got 25 minutes early. My son went and talked to the principal, but not the head of school. They got a lower school principal. They got a upper school principal. Then they got the head of school. So then they lunch to school. My son said he been eating his lunch cold because the whole high school, his whole grade in there, and they only got 2 microwaves. So he said, it just, the line is too long. So I wrote the head of school. And I say, listen, my son said he eating his lunch cold because y'all only got 2 microwaves, but you got the whole high school in there. And then I mentioned about the racist stuff going on. Then what else I mentioned? About the catering that they got going on, because they do catering, but they had a grilled cheese for catering, but the grilled cheese had bacon, onion, jam on it. Who in the world gonna eat bacon, onion, jam on a grilled cheese? What 6-year-old finna eat that? I'm like, come on now. And so I emailed that man. He emailed me back. I emailed him back. He emailed me back. I emailed him back again. And we got a lunch set up for next week. The head of school. I'm not talking to your underlings. I want the head. And then we just donated $21,000 to the school. Do you know the people ain't even called me and say thank you? Didn't get a card, nothing. I ain't got my letter. I need my letter sent out the next day. The nonprofit letter with their tax ID so I can write that off on my taxes. I need that letter sent out the next day. And you know why we donated that $21,000? Because my son said the bathrooms was too disgusting for him to go in them. He said if y'all do anything for this school, help fix these bathrooms. So they had the sewage problem, plumbing, and water leaking and all of this. And so this is a private school where tuition being paid and it's still a lot that ain't going right. And so I know some of y'all got some stories, and I got stories too about public school, to where the state just like, and the state doing the teachers so wrong that a lot of the teachers like, forget it. And so as parents, we got to get in there, whether you at charter school, Montessori school, public school, virtual home school, whatever kind of schooling you doing, daycare, karate, your kids sports. If your child is in sports, you got to stand up for your children. My son is the best all-around player on his soccer team, meaning that he could score, he could play defense, he could pass. It's not another kid on his team that could do all of that. They could do their position, score, or they could do defense, or they could just pad, but they can't do all of that he could do. And I'm not biased. I'm hard on my son. And the coach benched my son on the last game because he brought in another player that's like 6 inches taller than my son. And he put that player in my son's position and put my son on the bench. He put my son on the bench because a couple games before that, the coach told him to do something. And my son said, "Coach, that's not going to work. Because every time we do this, they do this." The coach got mad at my son for speaking up, speaking his mind. What my son told the coach was about to happen, it happened. The team scored on us. The coach apologized to my son after the game, but he was embarrassed that my son spoke up. And so my son, I tell him to speak up. I teach him, speak your mind with respect. You speak up. You don't just walk around mute like you got a voice. This is a human. It's an adult, so you don't yell at him. You don't curse at him. You don't cut him off. You don't smack your teeth. You don't walk away. And we teach my son, some adults say something to you, yes, sir. You give him a thumbs up. You acknowledge him. Because for a while, coach will say something, he wouldn't acknowledge the coach. And so we talk, because he respect me and his mama, but he didn't, if he don't take that coach serious, because his coach curse. Coach curse, joke around, play around. My son raised by me. I set the standard of manhood. If he meet a man and that man ain't up on my standard of manhood, I don't curse. I don't play games. I'm about business. I operate with love, but I'm about business. So because of the level of manhood that I set for my son, if another man is a jerk off, my son don't respect that. But I had to teach him, son, this your coach. You give him a thumbs up. If you on the other side of the field and he can't hear your voice, let him know you got him. Thumbs up. Okay, I got you. I say, because this still an adult at the end of the day. And so he do that. And so he respect. But the coach gonna bench him. My son, the only kid of color on the team. It's kids way worse than my son. Can't tie his shoes. And the coach had them in the game. And so when I tell you I ripped that coach a new one, when I tell you had he blanked too hard, I would have went to prison. Listen, I don't play about my kids. And we have to, and I can't be the only one. Stop playing about your children. Stop letting these teachers and these people overlook your kids and talk to your kids any kind of way and mistreat your kids and create a separate standard for your kids. To where, I remember I fought the good fight when I was a student. I went to a private school, 10th through 12th grade, and the white boys, they wore hats to school. At public school, you can't wear hats. But they wore hats to school. I didn't wear hats. I wore a do-rag. You know what you tie on your head. I wore a do-rag. That was my hat, because that was our style as black kids. Our style, we was wearing do-rags. Not gang bandanas, do-rags. And my teacher told me, you can't wear a do-rag. I said, well, for me, this is like a hat. I don't wear the dad hats, these fisherman hats that my peers wear. This is my hat. He said, well, no, that ain't allowed. I say, okay, well, they hats ain't allowed. If this ain't allowed on my head, that hat ain't allowed on their head. I went to the head, they used to call him headmaster. They done changed it now because it sound like slavery. They used to call him headmaster. I went to him, the principal, and I said, listen, this is what he telling me. He can't, Mr. Welch telling me I can't wear this on my do-rag, but for me, this is a hat. This is my hat, just like that scrunched up fishing hat is such and such hat. And so that's not fair. That's racism. Now, they could have been right, but I'm finna argue my point. So guess what? The principal told me, Tony, you can wear your do-rag. It ain't got nothing to affiliate with no gang or nothing like that, is it? I said, no, This ain't. This for these here waves. You see these things, it ain't spinning no more. This for my way, this our style, this our culture. And so I'm seeing kids around the country getting kicked out because they got locks. Because they got locks. Because they got braids. Because they got an afro. They can't go to their school. But then kids of other races could wear their long hair the way they want to wear it. And so listen, stop letting these rules be made. And if you have to go to your principal, you go down the line. If they don't want to take care of business, you email your local news every single day. Email the blogs on Instagram, send them your story to all the major blogs until your voice is heard about your child, whatever your child dealing with. And so this is the thing as parents, we got to step up and we got to advocate for our children. And you have to let whether you a single parent, whether you are the grandma taking care of the child, whether you are the auntie taking care of the child, the uncle, the brother, the sister, if you are overseeing someone, the youth, you need to be present, and them people need to know you are there, you are active, and you care. They need to know your name, your last name. They need to have your cell phone number. And your child need to know that you care. Your child need to know that you will take off work and risk being fired to sit in that classroom, in the back of that classroom with that child. That child need to know that their punishment for being bad in school is going to be 10 times worse at home than it is at school. They get out of school suspension, or they get in school suspension, or they get detention. They need to know that iPad, that cell phone, that Xbox, that PlayStation, that tablet, that Kindle, whatever it is they got, that basketball, that gymnastics, that karate, whatever it is they got, it's gone. It is gone till you learn to get your act together. Have them write lines, have them recite them lines, have them tell you what they did wrong, why they did it wrong, and why they're not going to do it again. And you drive that message home. Listen, you don't have to yell. You don't have to curse. You ain't even got to put hands on them. You ain't got to put hands on them. A lot of times as parents, we take our pain out on the children. And because we got beat up by our mama and daddy, or mama or daddy, we want to beat up on our child. And we doing it with some hate in our heart. We doing it with some spite. We doing it with some childhood trauma in us. And we abusing the child and calling ourselves disciplined. No, you discipline in love. You discipline in love. And what you doing is coming from a clear head. If they sitting in timeout, if they writing lines, if they grounded for 2 weeks, 5 months, you doing it with a clear head, a clear heart. You are cool, calm, and collected. Don't let stuff pass you by, pass by, and then all of a sudden you want to put the hammer down, but it's when you angry. So now you acting out of anger instead of out of consistency, so that your child has consistency. Put in consistency. When you are consistent with your children learn how to behave. Your children, you get praise reports from any and everywhere you go. You could be in a car dealership, and the car salesman gonna tell you, we've never seen a child as well mannered and well behaved as your child. Because you know this process take 2, 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes. Your child has sat over there and played their little game on their phone, or looked around, or played in our kids' place over there this whole time without crying and rolling on the floor and stomping because they're mad and ready to go home. Like, when you are consistent with your child and you have standards, you have structure. That's one of the things I saw my wife do for my sons is, okay, wake up 6 a.m. Eat breakfast, brush their teeth, wash their face, lotion, get dressed. Or they brush their teeth before. I don't know, because I'm asleep. I be asleep. and then they ride to school and they doing homework on the way to school. My oldest is doing his homework or doing his studying vocabulary words or studying for the test. The youngest, he's 7 now, he being quizzed by my wife, or he's doing a workbook, a math workbook or a reading and comprehension workbook the whole ride to school. And then before they get to school, they say a prayer. The oldest says a prayer, the youngest says a prayer. They get to school, they get out, and they hug. If you follow my wife on Instagram, Cherie Gaskins on Instagram, she posts on her story. That's her pride and joy. Our sons. They hug, and then the oldest goes to high school. The youngest, he goes and he hugs all his former teachers, and then he go hug his current teacher, and then he does his chores. Put your book bag up on the hook, put your homework, put your folder in the pouch, get your stuff out from your little drawer, cubby, go to your seat, start doing your morning work. Like that. Come home, they get picked up. The youngest get picked up first, and he has a series of questions he has to answer. What did you like about school today? Not did you have fun, because that's yes or no. What was the funnest thing you did in school today? You can't say yes or no with that. What night? Go on TonyGaskinsAcademy.com and sign up for the Parents Helping Parents, because my wife doing a course on this. I'm asking her questions, she answering it. But is she doing this because so many mothers have asked her, what do you do for this? What do you do for that? What do you do for this? What do you do for that? Because she's had time to focus more on motherhood. Because as you know, even when I was making $20,000 a year, I didn't require my wife to work. We lived off that $20,000 and then supplemental from school refund checks. But we lived off the bare minimum so that she could be a stay-at-home mom. And because my son was special needs with his being born early. And so from that, she was able to create a system. And then with me traveling and touring, she really had to have a system in place, because I really was no help other than financial help like child support. And so she had to create a system. And so from that system, she learned a lot. But let me tell you what my wife did. When my wife was pregnant, she read a book that's like this thick, and she read it multiple times. So a lot of time, and this is doctors who have done research on raising children. And so a lot of times when parents come and they say, how you do this, how you do this, how you do this, guess what? There are doctors who have researched all this stuff that tell you how to get your 2-month-old to sleep through the night. My wife studied all of that stuff. So that's why she's doing this course. My sons have never once slept in the bed with us. They have never once slept in our room. My sons have slept through the night from the beginning that I can remember, except for when you first come home and you got to feed them every 2 hours. But after that right there, they slept through the night, and it's because of a routine my wife created. And so this is the thing. Parents got to help parents, because everybody not going to know everything. Guess what? I see a lot of women who talk about they very upset about their stretch marks on their stomach. And I remember my wife, when she was pregnant, what she did, for those of y'all who not pregnant yet, every single day she took the cocoa butter stick and she rubbed it over her whole stomach and legs. The cocoa butter stick. Then she took the cocoa butter oil, rubbed it over her whole stomach, hips, and leg, and then the cocoa butter lotion. Stomach, hips, legs. So what happened? As she grew, as her stomach grew, her skin was so soft that it stretched without tearing, without pulling, straining the skin, because she moisturized, overly moisturized. She was like a slip inside. And so guess what? My wife don't have a single stretch mark from either pregnancy, because she did research that showed her that's what you had to do in order to for your body to stretch with that baby without stretching that skin. See, look, I can show you right here. You see right here on me? You see this look like tiger claws? That's the same thing that happened to a woman's body. The reason why you see them stretch marks is that's because I used to lift a lot of weights. Bench pressing. I used to bench press 340 pounds. I used to do multiple reps like this. So I'm stretching my skin. And it's on both sides. It's on both sides of my arms. See that, like stretch? That's the same thing happening when a woman get pregnant. Guess what? I never lotioned it. I never lotion right there. Ever. Never lotion that. So you see how that stretch mark look? Don't it look the same on your hip, on your waist, on your stomach? And see, look, that's natural. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Men don't really care about it. Men because that's all we know is men too. So I expected that. When my wife didn't have it, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? But she said, you remember all that cocoa butter? The 3 different types of cocoa butter I put on every night? That's what helped me go full term, have our second son, and not have stretch marks. Our first son, she went 32 weeks, or something like that, 30 weeks or something, 30 weeks. And so it was premature, and 2.5 months. And so, see, this is the thing. It was the research. So that's the thing. As parents, that's what I learned from her. Whatever you having issues with, get on Google. Get a book about it. Somebody has gone through it. Get on Tony Gaston Academy on Friday, because the price will get cut. And get into Parents Helping Parents. It ain't released yet. It's coming soon. Me and my wife still working through it. But it's coming. It's coming. And because one thing that you learn from another parent, like we learn from other parents, it might change the whole trajectory of your child life. Just one thing you pick up. It takes a village. And so this is the thing. We got to be active and we got to be intense, because if you can't be the change, your child might be the change. So if your voice won't reach 1 million people, your child voice might reach 1 million. If your voice can't reach 100,000, your child voice might reach 100,000. If you can't get a global platform or a national platform for Christ, if that's what you believe, or for whatever movement or whatever you passionate about, guess who might get it? Your child. So your child is your investment. And that's where we got to put all our time, our energy, and our resources. When you have children, it has to be about your children, not about your dreams. It ain't about your dreams no more. It ain't about what you got going on. Like, listen, I got to sacrifice. I got to, remember I tell you about that suite I got? They call it luxury suites. It's like a box at the football stadium. That thing costs, before food or whatever, that thing costs $8,000-$9,000 a game. You know I spend that just because I love sports and just because I need a relaxation. And so I do it out of my company because it's a business write-off. It's marketing. It's a business expense. So I do it through my company just like every other suite owner. Everybody do it through their company. And so, but guess what? When my son have a big game, he got a game coming up and it's down south from us, and I want to drive them down there because it's a 4-hour, 5-hour drive, and it's 2 games in the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I got to give up my suite because my son come first. And on that right there distance trip, I could say, son, listen, man, this thing cost me $10,000 for this game. I got to go. No. God bless me to where somebody else gonna get it from me, rent it from me. And so, hey, I'm going down there. It's stuff that me and my wife want to do all the time. On our anniversary, we at a soccer game. On Valentine's, we at a soccer game. On my wife's birthday, my son gotta be to his school by 5 in the morning because he got a school trip on my wife's birthday. That's upending her birthday, her actual birthday. On my birthday, we got a soccer game. When you have children, it is about them. It's no longer about you as a parent. So guess what? If you don't have children, don't have them if you're not ready to commit 100% of your life to that child. And if you had them because you was going through the motion and you thought just a child was an accessory like a pocketbook, you thought a child, you need to reframe your mind. You need to change your way of thinking, and don't get mad. Oh, I gotta have a life too. I gotta have my dreams too. It's about your child dreams. It's about your child dreams now. And so you got to make sure they taken care of. Yeah, you could pursue your dreams while they sleeping, while they in school, while they doing their homework. Okay, then be on the computer, then be in front of the camera, then pursue your dreams. When I'm talking to y'all on this camera, my son is practicing or my sons is at school. When my sons come home, and if they doing their homework, then I could come back and I could do me. But if they free and they got nothing to do, I got to be with them. I got to be in their face. You see what I'm saying? It's about the children. And this parenting, we have got to do better. And I know you used to hearing about love and relationship, but I am a life coach, life, love, and business. We need balance. We got to be well-rounded. We got to do everything with excellence. We just can't pursue a relationship and want that to be excellent, but we don't want our business to be excellent, or we don't want our parenting to be excellent. We got to be excellent around the board. And so the fact that I've been back and forth on this email, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not a nice guy. When it comes to my children, when it comes to my respect, I'm not a nice guy. I'm very direct. I'm very blunt. And if words was a knife, it's going to cut. You going to feel me. You are going to feel me. I'm not tucking nothing between my legs and biting no tongue. I'm finna let you know what an IS is. You hear me? I ain't playing no game. And I ain't got to raise my voice, and I ain't got to use a curse word. But you going to feel me. You hear me? And we're going to get something done. And if we don't get something done, guess what? You finna have a long day. You finna regret life because you done messed with the wrong one, buddy. Because I'm not finna lay down. You hear me? If it was civil rights, I'd have been a freedom rider. I'd have been a marcher. I'd have been Harriet Tubman, right hand. I'd have been a right hand man. Harriet, give me the gun. You point the way with the mouth. Give me the gun. You hear me? I'm not playing no game. And so listen, we got to get to that place to where we stop playing with people about our kids. Stop playing with people about your kid and let them know I will be up here and I will be in your face. We're going to get some straightening. And play with me. I will get a civil attorney that's going to sue the daylights out this here school. And I'm going to get one of them attorneys that say if we don't win, we don't get paid. And I'm bringing a case. You hear me? And I'm winning millions. Millions. Well, my kids' college finna be paid for the stress you put me through. For the time and energy you done put me through, my kids' college finna be paid for. Off this lawsuit. You hear me? Listen, stop playing. Stop biting your tongue. Stop getting the short end of the stick for your children. In their sports, in their clubs, in their school, that classroom, with that teacher, with that principal, with whoever. I don't prop my feet up. Y'all done got comfortable sitting over here talking. Y'all forgive me. Listen, it's time to get real. Hey, I just got hungry. God bless you. I got to go. My wife told me my sandwich in there. Hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon.